Hey Facebook peeps, Coach Greg coming to you live. I wanted to start sharing with you a lot more around mindset, motivation, and behavior, because beyond the immediate desire to perhaps lose some weight, get in shape, follow a nutrition plan, follow a exercise plan, what I find in my experience is that the driving force behind anyone accomplishing real results in their health and well-being and making it sustainable comes from self-mastery. And self-mastery means being able to take control of your world and being able to master your habits on a daily basis. So I wanted to share with you 10 habits that you can master and really take control of your life. I wanted to share a quick quote from Jim Rohn, famous motivational speaker and author. Success is nothing more than a few disciplines practiced every day. Failure is nothing more than a few errors repeated every day. Fairly profound and to the point. So if you're like most success-orientated people, you have a dream of gaining control over yourself, over your life, and that for many people would be an ultimate accomplishment for many. Hey Lorraine, glad you could join me. Habits are an important part of the process of success. Successes and failures are primarily the result of habits. So your habits also determine the long-term results that you achieve. Hey David, thanks for joining me, mate. The things that you do repeatedly really do matter, and the way you handle stress and uncertainty certainly matter. How you plan your day matters. There are many different things that do matter when you do them day after day over a long period of time. So why are habits important? Well, habits are important because habits are the biggest cause of your success or lack of success. Habits are they're vitally important, but most people recognize their importance or understand how to manage them or create them. So habits are vitally important, but very, very, very few people actually grasp the fundamentals of how important they are. Most people think of habits in a negative way, such as drinking, gambling, drugs, overeating, and what pops into their mind is this is for most of us. That's what pops into our mind. We associate habits with generally negative connotations. So, however, habits and many habits can be positive, such as exercising, meditating, simple tasks, daily tasks like brushing your teeth, taking a shower, paying your bills on time. Those that lack success, have habits too, but they can contribute equally so to their lack, such as procrastination. Social media can be an issue. Surfing the internet and late night snacking. They all can become detrimental habits if you allow them to get away on you. These habits provide you with some sort of rewards that make the habit stronger over time. So I guess what I'm saying is you are a bundle of your habits, both good and bad. Habits make life possible. There's Look, there's really only so much our brains can deal with each day. Um, I take in a lot every day, and trust me, a lot. And my brain gets to capacity sometimes. So imagine if you had to concentrate and be thoughtful about taking a bath, getting dressed, making your coffee, starting the car, and even choosing your path to work. You'd be worn out before 8 a.m. even rolled around. So habits are automatic behaviors that lessen our cognitive load and save us time. It's easy, really, to see how certain positive habits could make your life amazing and negative habits could make it very challenging. Choosing and implementing effective habits can really change your life in incredible ways. So, what are your daily habits? What makes for positivity in your day? What makes for negativity in the day? Are they a reflection of your habits? I'd like to share another quote by a famous author or his historic figure, Aristotle. Excellence is an art won by training and habituation. We do not act rightly because we have virtue or excellence, but rather we have those because we have acted rightly. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Quite profound and certainly worth contemplating. So why self-mastery is important? Well, self-mastery is a worthy goal. Many believe that self-mastery is an ultimate achievement, when in fact it's not. Consider the challenges you have in your life. The average person is perhaps overweight, doesn't have enough money, and has unfulfilling relationships. So let's just take one of those issues, losing weight, for example. Everyone knows how to lose weight. It's not a secret. There's nothing you need whispered in your ear from some guru. You already know everything you need to know. In fact, there's a plethora of free information. Just ask Google. It's available to you to solve nearly every challenge you have. The internet is rife with free, readily accessible solutions to your fitness and fat loss goals. And you can really find out anything you need to know. So knowledge isn't the problem. The key problem is self-mastery. So if you could just get yourself to do the things that you know you should do, your life would be completely transformed. But most of us have little mastery over ourselves. And this has a multitude of repercussions, such as poor results, feeling stuck, poor self-esteem, living a life that's just really a mere shadow of what it could be. Self-mastery may be life's greatest challenge, but it also provides life's greatest reward. And that's the ability to choose your destiny. Self-mastery is really only about one thing, and that's mastering your emotions. That means learning to control your emotions and to make the best decisions regardless of your emotions. When you can choose and perform effective actions, you can create whatever habits you need in order to achieve your goals. So you might be thinking, well, that's easier said than done, Greg. Perhaps, but it is possible. The most successful people in the world are proof of this. A famous American general, Colin Powell, was quoted saying, if you are going to achieve excellence in big things, you develop the habit in little matters. Excellence is not an exception, it is a prevailing attitude. So that leaves us with the question of how do you create and maintain habits? Most of our habits are developed without any intention on our behalf, our part. Have you ever intentionally created a habit and been able to maintain it? Very few people have. We seem to have a variety of habits, some good, some bad. All of them seem to have just happened on their own. Eating chocolate, more significant ones, smoking, alcohol, biting your nails, whatever it might be. However, I want you to know you can create habits that you desire, and if you want to match the results of someone else, firstly you have to find and duplicate their habits. All of them have three components. Habits begin with a cue. A habitual habit isn't an actual random event. There's something that sets it off, and this is a cue. The cue, for example, for brushing your teeth might be going to the bathroom just before bed. The cue for eating chips late at night could be sitting on the couch alone in the dark and with the TV turned on. The cue for letting the dogs out in the morning is your alarm clock. The cue for drinking alcohol might be thinking about your poor prospects for the future. Habits are triggered by our surroundings, people, thoughts, emotions. Think about a few of your positive and negative habits and determine what the cues are for each of them. The habit itself, after the cue has occurred, the habitual behavior happens. It's kind of like magic, really. The reward is every habit provides a reward on some level. Otherwise, the habits wouldn't continue for you. The rewards aren't always easy to identify, but you can bet the habit makes you feel better in some way, most often in the short term. You might be furious with yourself later on for eating a bag of crisps, but it certainly feels good while you're at it. I know that myself. One of my favourites is sitting in the dark watching TV, having a packet of chips. Procrastination feels better in the moment than getting started on your work. We can all procrastinate. Hey, Matt, thanks for joining me. And Adam. Habits either provide a temporary positive emotional or physical sensation, or they allow you to minimize or eliminate negative energy, negative feelings. Bad habits tend to have short-term advantages and long-term disadvantages. So that's a real recipe for disaster. Habits are very simple. Our brains are wired to recognize what happens right before something good or something bad happens. The good versus bad judgment is based on our physical and emotional sensations. So when something good happens, that behavior is likely to occur again. When something bad happens, we're likely to avoid repeating the behavior. You're really quite a lot more simple or simpler than what you think you are. Hey, Jeffrey. Now, we all like to believe that we make intelligent, rational decisions, but to be honest, it's rarely the case. Our habits overrule our cognition in most cases. Another quote by Travis Bradbury, humans are creatures of habit. If you quit when things get tough, it gets that much easier to quit the next time. On the other hand, if you force yourself to push through it, the grit begins to grow in you. How true is that? Hey, Stacey. Hey, you'd be familiar yourself if you've quit time and again on different things in life that quitting becomes easy. Quitting becomes a habit. So I wanted to share with you 7 strategies to create habits that actually serve your purpose. So creating a habit is something we're not really taught by our parents or in schools. Not much has been mentioned about habit establishment until fairly recently. Habits have become a hot topic, and for really good reason. The right habit can certainly change your life. With enough time and attention, nearly any habit can be created. So I wanted to share these 7 strategies to create habits that serve your purpose. So use them and you'll benefit for sure. Step number 1, make a list of the habits you most like to create. Prioritize your list so you'll be getting the most benefit from your effort. Anna, say, hey, how you doing? Good to have you on board. Limit yourself to one habit at a time. Odds are you haven't created a new habit in probably in the last year. So even creating a single habit becomes really a major accomplishment. Create one habit and then feel free to add another and another. I'm working on some habitual behavioral change myself at the moment, some financial habits that I'm trying to improve. So let's imagine that the habit you want to create is to do 25 push-ups each and every day. And let's also assume that you have the actual physical ability to do all 25 of them. What we need to do is find a cue that will work for your habit. There are many things to consider when choosing your habit. For example, what time of day do you want the habit to take place? Where are you most likely to be when you perform the habit? And what are the things you do every day? It doesn't work to choose a cue that only happens once a month if you're trying to create a daily habit. Or perhaps your habit is dependent on someone doing something, such as acting disrespectful to you. For our push-up example, let's choose brushing your teeth at night as a cue. So start out small, and when you think about doing your 25 push-ups, you might be less enthused. Make it so easy that you can't possibly fail. So how about 2 push-ups? That's an easy goal for someone that can do 25. Now, you might be thinking that doing 2 push-ups is pretty worthless, and it is from a results standpoint. But the point in only doing 2 isn't to build your arm strength, it's to build a habit. So getting down on the floor is the challenging part. Whatever your desired habit happens to be, firstly, focus on making a habit of the first step. Make it simple, make it easy to experience the success. So, to build on your habit, how do you build your habit? We want to build your habit, and we want to move from 2 push-ups to 5 to 10, and eventually work your way up to 25. Move your habit along slowly. Move your habit so that when you absolutely dread the idea of performing your habit, it's quite often that you've moved too quickly. So back up to a more comfortable version. Start incrementally. Reward yourself. Pick a reward that isn't harmful. So eating a chocolate bar or drinking beer isn't really a suitable reward when we're talking about a fitness or wellness goal. At the very least, feel happy that you've made a change in your behavior. Jump around and make some noise. Be persistent. It's unlikely that things will go perfectly. Resolve to do your best. Keep going until you have a full-blown habit on your hands. And look, it can take anywhere between from 10 days to several months, depending on the habit. Creating habit takes time, patience, and intention. Avoid hoping that you'll develop good habits. That's a little bit too constrictive and too constraining. Start instead by choosing the habits you want to have and create them intentionally. Start out with intention. If you can do this, then you can conquer yourself and the world. While creating new habits can be challenging, it's even more challenging to break bad habits. But you can do it too. It's it is possible. So here's another little quote I wanted to share with you. If you want to cultivate a habit, do it without any reservation. Until it's firmly established, until it is so confirmed, until it becomes a part of your character, let there be no exception, no relaxation, and no effort. So talking about bad habits, how do we break a bad habit? It's not enough to know how to create good habits. It's also necessary to know how to break your bad habits. You need to, if you've never, or if you've, perhaps if you've ever tried to stop smoking, or playing video games, surfing the internet, or eating Rocky Road and ice cream, you know how challenging it can be to eliminate a negative habit from your life. The neural pathways for our habits develop over time, and they get very, very strong, especially if the reward is significant. So we must be intelligent and diligent if we want to be successful. Breaking our habits, our bad habits, is a way to master yourself in the world, in your world. So how do we do that? I want to share a proven process to break a bad habit. Step one is to limit yourself to one habit at a time. Breaking bad habits requires some willpower. So you don't have enough to spare to take on several habits at once. It might feel really frustrating to work at a slow pace, but getting rid of 10 habits over this year would likely be a huge improvement for you. So be patient. Give yourself 30 days. Focus on dealing one habit at a time. And if you need 60 or 90 days, by all means, then you need 60 or 90 days. Do whatever it takes. Be happy with your progress. Look, perfection is really the enemy of the good. If you normally smoke, say, 20 cigarettes a day, lowering that down to 15 a day is a great progress. Track your results and be thrilled with your progress over time. Regular progress is all you really need to achieve to overcome your habit. You've got to start somewhere. So understanding your triggers, a trigger can be like a sensory input, a thought, or a physical sensation. So think about things with regards to your triggers. Location could be where you are or when your habit kicks in. Is it in your car, on your couch, sitting at your desk, at a friend's house, at a bar? What are some of the locations that might be a trigger for your habits? Hey Sharon, thanks for joining me. Hope you're well. Time of the day or time of the week, you might find that trigger times are late at night or weekends. Understanding when you're likely to slip up is pretty important too. Other people, it could be that many of your habits, such as drinking, smoking, drug abuse, promiscuity, occur in the presence of some other certain types of people. So think about your own habits and determine if you're likely to do them alone or if you're influenced by the company you keep. Current activity, what are you usually doing when your habit strikes? You might find that watching TV tends to trigger your junk food habit, or drinking leads to smoking. It's those congruent behaviors that foster and lead to the other one developing more. So become an expert on your triggers. Now, to do so, we need to interrupt or avoid our cues that trigger your habits. So if you can avoid triggering your habit in the first place, you've won the game. Now, it's not always possible. It's not always possible in all cases, but you can make some real progress in your battle against a bad habit with a very simple step. Now, hey Lisa, if you, for example, only smoke when you're in bars or drinking, well, stay away from bars, cut back your drinking. If you only eat junk food when you're alone at night, then either spend time with others or get the junk food out of the house. Quite simple. Hey Lisa. If you drive by McDonald's after work and it triggers you to purchase, say, an unhealthy dinner or a frappe or something on the way past on the way home, avoid that route on the way home if possible. Find a new route that doesn't pass by Macca's. When you do feel yourself triggered, stop. Learn to literally freeze and don't make another move. When you first feel the urge to smoke, overeat, plop yourself in front of the TV, all is not lost. Sit down, breathe, relax your body, and take stock of what's going on. Relaxing will help with the dissipation of the negative feeling that is driving you to indulge in that bad habit. By stopping taking any further action, you're actually interrupting your pattern of behavior and giving yourself time to choose a different course of action. So consider the reward and that you'll receive from the bad habit. Negative habits tend to occur to relieve negative feelings and create a positive feeling. So, for example, you might overeat when you're alone because you're lonely. You do it out of boredom. You might smoke to relieve stress. So, take stock, pause, relax, examine your negative habit, and figure out what you get from it. There is a reward for every bad habit. Now, adopting a new behavior in place of the habit is the next step. So it might take some trial and error to find a behavior that'll work for you, but find something that'll create a positive feeling for you without causing you harm. When you have an urge to smoke, for example, go for a walk. When you have the urge to eat junk food, eat an apple. When you want to surf the internet, read a book for 15 minutes. Find something positive or at least neutral that can take place of the behavior that you want to extinguish and get rid of. Now, equally so, having a penalty or a punishment for yourself indulging in bad habits is also an idea. So imagine if every time you smoked, a heavyweight boxer came in and punched you in the stomach. Smoking would be so much less appealing. While it might not be practical to hire a professional boxer to follow you around, and there's several apps and websites that can do a similar thing. Two examples of services that do that are stick.com, stick.com, that's two Ks, stick.k.com, and beminder.com, BEE-minder.com. There's several others that can help with that process. All work on the same premise that you pledge that money is taken from you if you indulge in your negative habit or fail to complete a new habit you're working on to develop. So we're all motivated by money, by cash, the hip pocket. What better way than to motivate you? So these services can be tied to various apps that track diet, exercise, other behaviors, and if you mess up, you lose your money. The money typically goes to an organization of your choosing, and this can be an organization that you love or one that you despise. It's up to you. The service keeps a small percentage as a transaction fee. Now, of course, you can do something similar yourself. You could, let's say, you could promise that you'll send the money to an organization you don't support, or maybe post an embarrassing photo of yourself on Facebook. You might snap a selfie of yourself with a rubber band, or snap yourself with a rubber band, or go to work with your hair uncombed. Give yourself a real consequence for not following through. Now, take care of yourself. Your willpower is at its highest when you're well rested, well nourished, and when you receive moderate exercise. Getting enough sleep, eating well to keep your energy and mood high is an example. A little exercise can help you burn off any negative energy you're carrying around. I know myself, it's great. You're stressed, you're frustrated. Walk away from everything. Go and do some exercise. Take a walk, take a hike, go for a run, do some boxing. Now, be persistent. This is probably the most important step in achieving any goal. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, Keep with it. Be happy with even a little progress. 1% improvement each and every day is some progress. Treat it as a win. You can do it. So breaking habits is certainly more challenging than just creating good habits. Bad habits can be very detrimental to your success. You need to do all that you can to eliminate the bad habits, and there's a process. It is a process, but always be prepared for challenges along the way. Just because there's a process for eliminating bad habits doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Doesn't mean there's not going to be distractions, and that you're not going to encounter challenges. So another little quote for you I like to share is that you need to put what you learn into practice and do it over and over again until it's a habit. I always say seeing is not believing, doing is believing. There is a lot to learn about fitness, nutrition, and emotions, but once you can do, you can master them instead of them mastering you. There's a bit of truth in that. So 10 of the best habits to master yourself and the world. Let's explore those. There are many different habits with far-reaching consequences. These are several of the best ways of developing positive consequences. If you're looking to make a positive impact in your life, and to improve your influence over yourself and the world, then really, truly consider these habits. I've done a bit of research, a lot of reading into what makes successful people tick, what habits they have, and this is a pretty good summary of them. So make a choice, choose one or create one of the own that matches your current situation, and get busy, get to it. So meditation, and you've probably heard of this many times, and you always thought, well, meditation's not for me. It just seems so contrived and difficult. But one of the most common habits amongst highly successful people is actually engaging in meditation or some type of spiritual practice. Meditation often gets dismissed by many success-minded people as a waste of time, but that is a real mistake. Meditation can give you a much better understanding of yourself and really more control over your own behavior. So there's numerous benefits of meditation. There's emotional health. Your self-image and outlook on life can be improved. Meditation has also been found to decrease the symptoms of depression. The incidence of positive thoughts also increases. Through meditation, attention span is enhanced. The intensity, the duration of concentration is increased. You'll be able to stay on task longer and get more accomplished. Meditation helps your brain in later years. Memory, mental speed, quickness, and attention are enhanced in seniors that meditate quite regularly. Even those with dementia show improvement. Meditation lowers your stress, reduces your anxiety. Meditation has even been shown to reduce the symptoms of social anxiety, phobias, panic attacks, obsessive compulsive disorder. It also reduces the general level of anxiety you can experience each and every day. And it also brings self-awareness. You learn so much about yourself and your thoughts when you meditate regularly. The importance of this really can't be overemphasized. So there's two general styles of meditation for our purposes. There's seated and walking. Most people think of seated meditation when pondering a topic of meditation. And this is a traditional form of sitting, say, on a cushion with your eyes closed or partially open. And seated meditation is really good. It focuses on your breath, brings your attention and your awareness to feeling the air flowing in and out of your nose. And when thoughts pop into your head, you're encouraged to return your attention to your breath. And in that process, you notice how the thoughts just randomly come into your awareness. The key is not to engage with them and just let them go and return to your breath. Walking meditation, however, involves doing an activity while you 100% focus on the task at hand. So you could be walking, washing the dishes, mowing the grass, or even driving to work. Meditation isn't about zoning out and daydreaming. In fact, it's exactly the opposite. When you're meditating, you're actually focused. So just returning your attention to your breath or task at hand is an act of meditation. Dale Carnegie, a famous author and speaker, was quoted as saying, "Feeling sorry for yourself and your present condition is not only a waste of energy, but the worst habit you could possibly have." So this process will help you create and sustain a meditation habit. Creating cues. Like any habit, your meditation habit will require one or more cues. Firstly, pick a time or a place for your meditation practice and choose appropriate cues. A few ideas could be putting the kids to bed, getting in the shower, hitting the snooze button on the alarm clock, driving your car, eating your lunch, changing out of your work clothes. Start out small. Look, you might want to do a little studying on meditation, do a little bit of research or take on a course, but my simple description is enough to become really very good at meditating, and it's really quite simple, but not necessarily easy. So start small, meditate for 1 minute, increase your duration of your meditation. Eventually you'll want to have a single session that amounts to a continuous 20 minutes. If you meditate more than once a day, the other sessions can be shorter. It really doesn't need to be lengthy. And make sure that you reward yourself. You might find that your meditation itself is enough reward in that you get that stillness, that calmness, but also consider really doing something more for yourself at first. You might want to reflect on how awesome it is that you successfully meditated, or you might allow yourself to play Tetris for 10 minutes. Remember that not to use a reward that is bad for you. Reward yourself with something that reinforces positivity into your life. Meditation is therefore one of the most important habits you can develop, and it's also a wonderful way to begin interrupting your bad habits. When you feel yourself triggered to perform a negative behavior, meditate instead. It's one of the best ways to short circuit those bad habits, and you'll feel better for it as well. A little quote here I like, another one. I've got a good list of quotes to share with you today. We can use decision making to choose the habits we want to form, use willpower to get the habit started, then, and this is the best part, we can allow the extraordinary power of habit to take over. At that point, we're free from the need to decide and the need to use willpower, by Gretchen Rubin. All right, so meditation is one of the first strategies that we can utilize here. The next one is reading and learning. If you want to become successful, it is really important to learn and continue learning. And that's one of my personal goals for 2019, to spend a lot more time learning and reading. I really didn't feel like I had accomplished much in that department over the last 12, 24 months. So I really want to reconnect with that habit and get back into reading and learning. Reading is really an excellent way to self-mastery. Anything from a minimum of 15, 30 to 60 minutes of reading each and every day is enough. Reading allows you to increase your knowledge of the world and any subject that's really important to you. Thinking about what you could do better and how your mind would expand if only had a little bit more knowledge. You might want to know more about exercise, healthy eating, public speaking, sales tactics, why a particular industry failed. Whatever it is, perhaps you have an interest in learning how to write so you can create your masterpiece novel. The information's out there. You just need a habit to get that knowledge into your own brain, and a daily reading habit will accomplish that very well. So here's some ideas you can use to create a reading habit that'll serve you for the rest of your life. Start with determining what you want to know. What information would help you or your success the most. Make a list of everything you wish you knew and keep your goals in mind when compiling that list. Create a time and a trigger for your reading habit. Will you get 30 minutes, get up 30 minutes early and read, or will you do it right before bed? I've tried both. I used to like reading before bed, but I find these days I tend to nod off with the busy days I have. So first thing in the morning is probably the ideal for me, where I'm up, I spend a few moments of quiet time, I have my morning cup of joe. It's probably the ideal time for me to incorporate reading. So that's my task and what I'm striving for. So knowing your trigger, it might be, say, after putting your socks on, making your morning coffee, or brushing your teeth at night. Find something that you already do each day and link that into your new habit. Perhaps starting off small if you're not a fan of reading. Maybe just go for a few minutes. A couple of pages of a book or a chapter, or 10 to 15 minutes as opposed to 30 to 60 minutes. Make it easy and set up a sanctuary for reading. Have a comfortable place and have your book nearby where you might gravitate to an area that's conducive to reading. And most importantly, reward yourself for that. And hopefully the knowledge that you've gained and the thrill of changing your behavior will be enough. But maybe you need a little more at first. Maybe you need something to reward yourself with for committing to that habit and achieving it. And the best gift of all is the habit of reading something helpful each day. There's really no limit to what you can learn or become if you read regularly. Determine what you need to know and allow your reading habit to make it happen. Og Mandino, another famous author, I've read a couple of his books. Not sure whether it's Richest Man in Babylon or something like that. I really enjoyed his books. It's been some years since I've read them. So a quote from Og Mandino is, "I will form good habits and become their slave. And how will I accomplish this difficult feat? Through these scrolls it will be done. For each scroll contains a principle which will drive a bad habit from my life and replace it with one that will bring me closer to success." So the third strategy I want to share with you is learning from your mistakes. Mistakes and failures they're regular occurrences in our lives of anyone that's been working on their big goals. You can research into famous athletes as a great example. What's his name? Michael Jordan, the great basketballer. He's been known for admitting that it's not the millions, not millions, the thousands of shots that he's missed that he's famous for. It's a few that he's succeeded on. And so he has failed literally many, many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of times more at shooting those three-pointer goals than he has succeeded. So ideally, what we need to do is not be repeating the same mistakes. If we were to do so, that would mean that it'd be madness. We're just in a cycle that we can break. Unfortunately, this cycle of madness afflicts nearly everyone. Life is challenging enough without making it harder for yourself over and over again. I don't know about you, but I'm guilty of that, making my life so much harder for myself. You have far fewer mistakes in your life if you only made new mistakes. So leverage your mistakes and make the most of them. Set aside time to identify your mistakes each day. Sit down once each day and review your day. List anything that went wrong. You may have eaten an unhealthy lunch, for example, or arrived late at work, lost a big customer, perhaps unintentionally insulted a co-worker, forgot to put fuel in your car, missed your child's sporting practice, stepped on a piece of glass or a nail in the garage. Just list everything, anything that wasn't the way you wanted it to be, and then go forward and find a better way. Go through your list and develop one or more solutions to each mistake. Put your plans into action. Life isn't an intellectual exercise. Nothing happens until you do something. So create a habit of this process. You already know how to do this. Remember to have a cue or a trigger and a reward. Be consistent. Avoid the tendency to keep repeating your mistakes. Use them to adjust your approach and the results. Look, you're going to make big mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. Just ensure that you make the most of them. There's a phrase that I quite like, and that's fail forward. In time, you'll learn that your failures and mistakes are actually helpful. Andre Moreau was quoted as saying, if you create an act, you create a habit. If you create a habit, you create a character. If you create a character, you create a destiny. With a destiny, it's something foreseeable or foreseen. The next strategy is to maintain a vision of the future. How do you want to be in your life? How do you want your life to be? If you don't know how, then how can you expect to get there? Having a direction in your life is actually really important. So goals serve the purpose of moving your life forward and moving from where it is to where you want to be. Reviewing your goals daily will keep you on track. If you don't already have a few goals, you need to make some. You need to write them down. You need to get clarity around them. So keep the future that you desire clearly in your mind. Here's a habit to get in practice, and that's at least once a day, pull out your goals and review them, or put them in prominent places around your house, on the refrigerator, on the bathroom mirror, behind the toilet door. Visualize your actual accomplishment of each goal and notice the details. What do you see? Who else is there? And how do you feel? And whenever you feel like giving up, review your goals again. We give up on our goals when the short-term discomfort becomes too great. This is a result of short-term focus, and reviewing your goals reminds you of your long-term why, your purpose. And this habit will keep your goals fresh in your mind, your motivation will stay higher, and you'll be less likely to quit or to procrastinate. Maintaining your awareness of the future you desire. So keeping an awareness, keeping it top of mind, keeping prompts and reminders will make it far easier for you to maintain your purpose and your direction. Now this one's pretty familiar, and coming from me, no doubt familiar with yourself, and that's the act of eating healthy and exercising. Self-mastery is enhanced dramatically through this, and I'm a real advocate for it. Life is so much easier when you're fit and healthy. And there's many different diets and exercise programs to choose from. Determine a diet and exercise program that works for you and allows for you to maintain a healthy body weight. This is really important. Finding an exercise that you enjoy, but also challenges your heart and your muscles. Some people like to mix running with weightlifting. Others enjoy a good game of tennis. Hey, Andrew, thanks for joining me, dude. One of the more challenging habits to create is developing a nutrition and exercise program that you'll stick to. And the overcoming the urge to eat unhealthy foods is particularly strong. The keys to sticking with an exercise habit are making the time and finding something that you enjoy, finding something that is an enjoyable process and there's a reward in you participating. Deepak Chopra, a famous author, again, and public speaker, was quoted as saying, "The real key is to live in an environment where the mind feels free to choose the right thing instead of being compelled by habit and inertia to choose the wrong thing." Let's move on to controlling impulses. We've all made unwise decisions during times of stress and fatigue. When you have the urge to do something, it's best to take a moment and reconsider how many times have you, for example, eaten something you shouldn't have, said something you wish you hadn't, spent money you wish you'd saved, quit something you'd maintained. We all have impulses to do things that we shouldn't do. A habit to control your impulses is similar to taking a moment when you feel triggered to engage in a habit. So use some of these following strategies to control your impulses and stop sabotaging yourself. Hey Chris, how you doing, dude? First of all, notice that you're feeling out of sorts. We generally don't behave impulsively while we're cool, calm, and collected. We're impulsive when we're stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, or feeling excited and euphoric. Particularly, if you're in a retail environment, ladies, you'll relate to this. You're out shopping. There's a lot more tendency to be impulsive when you're in an environment that's stimulating, it's exciting, and there's all manner of things that are enticing. So notice when you're not feeling calm or comfortable. The first step to controlling impulsiveness is knowing when you're likely to make an impulsive action. This quite often stimulates or triggers the next step. So take a long pause before acting. Avoid taking any action until you've had time to cool your jets down. Take a walk, meditate, walk away. Find a way to relax before making a decision. Be logical and thoughtful. Ask yourself what the smart decision is in this circumstance. Ignore your emotions and be logical. You should rather do rather than what you should feel the urge to do. So take appropriate action. All that's left is taking smart action and feeling good about it. So can you control your impulses? This is one of the most important habits because it allows you to avoid making those big mistakes that can be impossible to recover from fully. You've made huge mistakes in the past. Creating this habit will help you to avoid them. Margaret Heffernan was quoted as saying, "The truth won't set us free until we develop the skills and the habit and the talent and the moral courage to use it." The next self-mastery step is learning to listen. Listening well does a lot for you and increases your communication skills tremendously. Listening is half the battle, and it isn't always easy. Being able to listen also takes your charisma to a whole other level. People love it. They absolutely love it when you pay attention to them. And charisma is largely about making others feel good in your presence. And developing that habit of listening intently will enhance your life in so many different ways. Here's some techniques to develop effective listening skills. When someone is listening to you, turn and give them your full attention. This means that you're not looking around the room or thinking about something else. It's kind of like meditating, but the subject of your meditation is your communication partner. Wait for your turn to speak. That also means you're not spending your listening time just thinking about what you want to say. It's better to listen well and then take a moment to craft your reply. Ensure you understand the other person. Ask questions. Be certain that you're getting the correct message. Sound listening skills as a habit will help your communication skills in several different ways and enhance your level of likability. Those that listen well are quite popular. So build this habit. You've got plenty of opportunities to practice. Everyone you speak to is another opportunity to hone the habit. Frank A. Clark, is quoted as saying, "Habit is something you can do without thinking, which is why most of us have so many of them." And another self-mastery strategy is to create a to-do list. If you get up each day without a to-do list of priorities, how do you ensure that the most important things will be addressed? You simply can't. A great habit to have if you want to master your world is to spend some time each evening making a list of what you want to achieve the following day. So then you'll know exactly what needs to be done. Always do your planning of a night time and attack it during the day. At the end of the day, of an evening, fresh are the thoughts or the reflections of the day before and the intentions for the day forward. If you write them down then and then review them in the morning, you'll have a clear strategy to move forward. So learn how to make an effective to-do list and get the most out of your day. My to-do list is crazy. It's badass. It's extensive. In fact, I have 2 schedules on the go, and on those schedules, I have tasks to do for each activity of the day. So the way to manage that most effectively is sit down each evening, plan for tomorrow, what needs to be accomplished, are there bills that need to be paid, what's going on at work, what errands you need to run. Pay particular attention to your goals, what needs to be done to bring your goals closer, and prioritize those items. There's a good chance that you very well have a longer list than you can manage. So eliminate what you can and keep the tasks that are most important to you. Keep your to-do list manageable so you can be incredibly successful without killing yourself, literally. Consistency is key, and if you're putting in the necessary time each and every day, then focus your energy on the most critical tasks that you have to get done to be successful. Enjoy checking those items off your list every day and know that you're getting closer to mastering yourself and your life. So it seems like a really simple idea. Even if it does, that might not matter, but you'd be wrong to believe it. It's easy to get off track and waste your time if you don't have a plan for your day. It only takes a few minutes, and it can make a truly a huge difference in the results you create in your life. Give it a go. Give it a go. Alrighty, William Ralph Ing Consciousness is a phase of mental life which arises in conjunction with the formation of new habits. When a habit is formed, consciousness only interferes to spoil our performance. Let's explore another self-mastery habit. Be a finisher. Now, most of us are good at planning out the path of achieving our big goals, and some people are also good at getting started and making some real progress. But far fewer are experts at actually crossing the finish line. Developing a habit of finishing what you start can be a real watershed moment for many, and it's common to quit before reaching a goal. When you're good at doing a lot of things 90% of the way, but not completing them. We all do that. We complete 90% of things, but we just don't finish off. So learn to finish what you start. For example, if you're washing the dishes, wash all the dishes. Don't leave your greasy frying pan soaking with the intention of doing it tomorrow. Do the entire job. That one habit in itself can then transfer over into others. You'll feel the resistance creep in when you're getting towards the end of a task. You'll look for a shortcut to finish it or overcome completing the task fully. Use this as a cue to get determined. Really dig into that task or activity and power your way through to the end. It's like a sprinter. A sprinter looks at the final 20 meters, 10 meters as the time to accelerate. Same with getting a task completed. When you're near to finish, accelerate. Strive harder, work harder, be more determined. Whether you're cleaning up your garage, writing an email, going shopping for groceries, complete the task and avoid allowing yourself to finish it tomorrow or later on. Critically important in finishing a task is enjoying the feeling or the sense of completing that task. This one habit will largely take care of itself after a while. Most people learn to enjoy the relief and sense of accomplishment that comes from completing a task 100%. Feel free to set up a reward system if you need it. It's not nearly enough to be a good planner and a starter, but you must learn to be a good finisher as well. Master the art of finishing what you start. Honestly, you'll be shocked by how much this habit influences your life. Finishing is a necessary part of self-mastery. Damien Rice was quoted on saying this: "The best restriction I learned was getting into the habit of doing something, even if I didn't feel like it, instead of running away from it. Sometimes good work needs to be earned, and when you overcome yourself, the muse notices and celebrates." This next strategy of self-mastery or habit, I quite like, and I've developed over a period of time, become accustomed to it, and that's getting up early. Getting up early doesn't mean that you need to shortchange your sleep. While many successful people are known to sleep relatively little, there's just as many highly successful people that sleep 9 or more hours per night. But getting up early and getting started on your day, few things will feel better than getting something meaningful accomplished while everyone else in the neighborhood is asleep. Studies repeatedly show that everyone performs better in every imaginable way if they receive at least 7 hours of sleep each and every night. So you're not the exception. Allow yourself enough time to get a full night of sleep, and this will mean going to bed earlier if you're going to get up early. Most people don't do anything productive in the couple of hours leading to bed. You don't need to watch TV or play around online. Get to bed and get up early. The most common wake-up time for the highly successful seems to be the 5 a.m. So it might seem early for you. I'm up at 4 a.m. most mornings, but it's only early if you get to bed late. So get up and get at it. So in conclusion to all this, many people believe that the purpose of life is to learn how to master yourself and by extension master your world. Habits are an important part of this process, and we all have habits. Some of the habits serve us well, while some habits inhibit our success and even can contribute to destroying us. The power of habits cannot be overstated. Your health, physique, educational success, and career have all been developed primarily through your habits. So you can look at someone and predict many of their habits. Habits have been studied by many great philosophers, and habits have been a source of amazement and frustration for thousands of years. The intellectuals of the past were aware of habits and their importance in learning to master yourself. If you can't manage your habits, you can't truly manage yourself. New habits can be created with intention and effort, and bad habits can be eliminated, though it can be quite challenging. Some habits truly have the power to transform your life for the better, while, for example, doing 25 push-ups each day is a great way for your arms and your shoulders and your core to improve. It doesn't have the same far-reaching impact as making the most of your mistakes. So over time, you can implement and remove a lot of habits, but your ability to handle more than one at a time is quite limited. Prioritize your habits and what you want to create and destroy. You can eventually get to all of them, but be intelligent in your approach. So have patience. Master the necessary habits and you'll master yourself and your life. The world is your oyster, and if you can use the power of habits to your advantage, then go forth and prosper. I hope you've enjoyed this live video that went a little longer than I anticipated on the topic of self-mastery, but I wanted to share those 10 habits of how you can master yourself and master your world. So have a fantastic day. I look forward to your feedback. If you've got any comments on this video post, I'd love to hear from you what some of your habits are, you good and bad habits, and share them in the comments below. Shoot me a like or share this post if it resonates with you, and certainly comment below with a hashtag live if you watched live, hashtag replay if you watched on replay, and look, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what are some of your best habits for self-mastery and mastering your life. Coach Greg, talk to you soon.